import java.util.scanner, which basically brings in your scanner. This is where it all starts. And then basically just your public class where everything's going to happen, your void. This is now you naming your class. Scanner, scan. Scan is the part where you're now naming it. And then this is your new scanner system in. Okay, then all these values are the values that we're going to be using, and they're all basically going to your RAM, and basically you saving like space in it. You're saving a space, initializing it, and you're going to call it name, surname, and RAM. So now there's these spaces saved for later on when you need to use that space. Now you've saved it. And then after that, you start with your registration process. So S out prints just prints anything, outputs it exactly what's in inverted commas. So this is the registration process, just output it. Then the first part we have here is your enter name. We want the person to enter their name. We're using the name because that's the string that we want to go to, that space in this RAM, and etc. We do that for the surname, and we do that for the username as well. System output. So this is just me outputting it and saying that it must be no longer than 5 characters long and must include an underscore. This is just dating it, but all the real stuff happens in the secondary one, which I'll be getting to. Username equals scanner.next. This is now you asking the users to enter a username. So this checking credential check 1 equals to new checking. So this is basically you have 2 classes, 2 different rooms, but in order to get to them, there has to be a path or a way through. This is basically a passage going from this main class to the second class. So it's just calling over this class and saying, hey, bud, I need these certain things, and etc. And so while you have those data and your variables, the checkings that are going to be happening in checking 2, which I'll still go over, there's a while loop. This while loop is going to run continuously until the conditions are met in the second class. And every time it's incorrect, it's going to ask you to re-enter the username, and it's going to keep telling you that the username is not correctly formatted and to please ensure that you contains an underscore. And it will give you another chance to enter the username, and then you will check that username and continue being incorrect until correctly. And then if it's correct, then it was going to output username successfully captured. Then you're going to go to your enter password. Enter password, system part with password. And in the password, we're going to be checking for a capital letter, name, and special letter, which I will also go through those conditions in the second class, but this is what it's going to do here. While this is just looping it again, like we did in the previous one, just double checks until it is happy with everything, and then only will it output the password. Same thing for the number. We call them all the time. We need that passageway in order to know exactly what we're dealing with. This is the method that we're calling. So check credentials the class, and this is the method, and this is what we're checking. So, and it's the same for all these other variables. And then after that, now we're trying to log in. So after logging in, we're now reverting back to the data that we already have. We have a stored username and enter password. So what we need here. So again, we call it, we create a new object, Boolean object. So this is basically where we're comparing everything, right? So we're checking the username that the person entered compared to the login username that the person is trying to log in. And we're checking the user's password that they have and checking that the login password is making sense, that it's working together. And again, we have another while loop that if the data that the user gave is incorrect, they must continue entering it until it's correct. And then it will, after that, you have your name plus your surname if it's correct, and welcome back. Then this is where all the good things happen. So this is your secondary class, check credentials. This is the first part, check username. So it checks the usernames. False, because it has to be false in instance because there's nothing there initially. Then if it contains, so if this username of yours contains a underscore and the length is 5 digits or less, then it's fine. But it has to contain these are the two conditions. If so, it's true, else it's going to be false, and then after that we're returning it back. Then same for password. For password, the boolean is true or false. That's what boolean means. If the password is greater than 8 characters or equal to 8, we're happy. Anything less, we don't want that. And also check, so it's just if, it's an if statement. If the length is greater than 8 and it has an uppercase, this int I equals, this basically counts all the characters one by one to ensure that it's checking for an uppercase. And as soon as it finds it, then this statement is true. Then it checks for a digit. If it goes through them, it sees, oh, it has a digit, then it's true. But if it goes through all those letters one by one till the end and doesn't find one, then it will be false. And then check special character. What I did is, character is letter or digits. So exclamation mark means that it's the opposite of whatever is in here. So if the character is not a letter or a digit, it has to be a special character. Then it's going to return all that data. Cell phone number. So number is null, so that's when nothing is in there. Then the number has to contain a +27 because we have to use the South African code, and the digit must be 12 lengths long. If this is true, then you display true, else false. Then the login part, string username, this is when we called it back, and we say if the username equals a login and the password equals a login, then we're happy. If else, then it's wrong. Then after that, we're going to do a test. Doing the tests here. So where the tests are going to run. So you're testing if you have this. If you have this. If you have this and it's happy with the condition, then it's true, and it does the same for the rest of the conditions. So we're going to run it now and see if everything I was saying was true or not. So I'm going to enter my name. I'm going to enter my surname. I'm going to enter a character longer, so it's going to be THU underscore. And then we're going to enter a password. There we go. Enter cell phone number. And then we're happy. It's happy with it. So now it wants us to log in. And then after that, there we go. And then welcome to Labo. It's great to see you again. And we're happy.